Ava, the Destroyer!
The crowd went wild. This was just a simple boxing fight, the first stage of the tournament that I hoped to win. A lot of people had their bets on my victory.
And Ava's opponent, the strong, the almighty, Abigail the Wrecker!
Again, the crowd went wild. I watched as my opponent entered the ring, but when I saw her face, my blood stopped moving. It was my sister, Abigail, except my sister had been missing for 10 years. Hi guys, my name's Ava and I'm from Texas. Make sure you like and subscribe. My sister Abigail and I were twins, and we were the bestest friends ever. We did everything together. One time we even broke our left arm together at the same time when we fell off a trampoline.
Ow!
Wow, this is so cool! We're broken arm twins! I loved Abigail so much. She was my other half. But then one day, our lives were ruined. Our parents took us out on a camping trip, but when we woke up the next morning, Abigail was missing. We searched for days and days, but there was no sign of her. After several years had passed, we started to believe we'd never see her again. And yet, here I was standing in a boxing ring across from my opponent, my long-lost sister. Abigail, is that really you?
Yeah? What do you want?
Did she not recognize me? I turned to my parents who were watching in the crowd, and I could see their shocked faces. The bell rang, signaling the beginning of the match. Abigail, where have you been all these... Black filled my vision and I lost consciousness. When I came to, the crowd was going crazy as my sister celebrated her victory.
What a twist, folks. Ava the Destroyer, the most anticipated winner of this tournament, is out in the first round.
I struggled to get up. My head hurt. But then I spotted my sister again, and my heart leaped. Abigail! I ran towards her and hugged her.
Ah, get off me! What's wrong with you?
Abigail, I've missed you so much!
What? I don't know you. Security!
Suddenly, security appeared and ripped me off Abigail.
Wait, Abigail, sweetie, don't you remember us? Why should I?
We were left speechless. My sister comes back after years, but she doesn't even know who we are? How could this be? After the boxing match, we tried to find her again to talk to her, but she seemed to have disappeared. We tried to get into contact with her manager, but the lines were dead.
What do we do?
We can't lose her again. Not like this.
I'm gonna hire a private investigator. We'll find her again. Don't worry. I searched for local private investigators online, and one popped up. His name was Jaya Webner. He claimed to have 100% success rate. You're my guy. The next day, I arrived at his office.
Excuse me, miss, do you have an appointment?
I can't wait. This is an emergency.
No, wait,
I opened the door and immediately felt my face blush red. There was the private investigator, but he was shirtless. And damn, he looked good. He was punching a punching bag, and when he looked up at me, he scowled.
I'm busy.
I took a deep breath and walked in. I'm sorry, Mr. Webner, but I can't waste any more time. My sister is missing.
No. I'm very busy with tons of other cases at the moment. Now leave.
Ugh! How rude! I wasn't gonna let this guy walk all over me. Excuse you! My sister needs your help, and you're just gonna abandon her?
Fine. Look, I'll do it for a fee.
I can pay you $10K. That's all I got.
10? My bare minimum rate is 50. Sorry, sweetie. Ain't gonna happen.
He continued to punch at the bag, and I grabbed hold of it suddenly, eyes aflame. How about this? I beat you in a sparring match, and you agree to take my $10K. If I lose, you take the $10K for yourself, and I leave, and we never have to see each other again. Mr. Webner smirked.
Deal. You're gonna regret this, little girl. I've taken martial arts for 5 years. Don't think I'll go easy on you.
His next words were snatched from his lips as I pounced on him. He was instantly knocked out.
Ah! What did you do to him?
Relax, he's fine. I grabbed a vase of flowers, dumped the flowers, and splashed his face with the remaining water.
Where am I?
Wake up, princess.
Wow, you really knocked me out, huh?
He looked impressed.
What's your name?
Ava.
Okay, Ava. I'll help you.
Thank you, Mr. Webner.
Please, call me Jaya.
The next day, we spent the whole time in his office working on leads. No matter how many times we called Abigail's boxing manager, the call went dead.
That's it. Come on.
Where are we going?
To wake up the lazy sleazeball himself.
An hour later, we pulled up at the manager's house. I have no idea how Jaya found his home address, but I was starting to believe this 100% success rate. When we arrived, Jaya walked straight up and knocked on the door.
Hello? Who are you? What do you want? Good afternoon, Mr. Langley. My name's Jaya Webner. I was wondering if you could put me in contact with your client, Abigail. We've called you many times. You're the one who's been calling me nonstop. Listen, if you want to interview Abigail, reach out to her yourself.
No, wait, please! She's my sister. She disappeared years ago and I just want to talk to her. The coach stared at me for a while, then burst out laughing.
That's the lamest excuse I've heard yet.
He slammed the door in our faces. Great. Just perfect. I turned around and stormed off.
Hey, Ava.
He grabbed my shoulder.
It's okay. We'll find her.
Suddenly, tears welled in my eyes. Where was this coming from? And then I burst out sobbing, leaning into Jaya's chest. I just miss her so much. I thought I'd never see her again, but now she's back, but she still feels so far away.
I know. It's gonna be okay.
I pulled away, and there was something about the look on Jaya's face. Let's go. A week passed, and we still hadn't gotten any more leads. But then one day, while I was having a relaxing bath, my phone rang and I rushed to answer it. Hello?
Hey, Ava. It's Jaya. I found your sister.
What? Really?
Yeah, one of my guys spotted her at the grocery store. I'll pick you up now.
Oh my god! Okay! Jaya picked me up and he drove us over to the grocery store nearby. We ran inside and searched for someone who looked exactly like me. And finally, we found her in the milk aisle. Abigail!
Huh? Oh my god, you again? Are you a stalker or something?
Abigail, it's me! Your sister, Ava!
Sister? What are you talking about?
Can't you tell? We look exactly alike!
Whatever, that's just a coincidence. I don't have a twin. I would have known that.
Excuse me, Abigail. I'm Jaya Webner, private investigator. We've been searching for you for a long time.
Jaya explained everything to Abigail about how I had lost my twin years ago, and she's been missing ever since.
Wait, is this actually true?
Yes!
Well, I think I believe you, because many years ago I woke up and lost my memories. Where did you say I disappeared?
On a camping trip.
That's right. I was just a kid and I remember falling over and hitting my head. Another family found me when I woke up and I had no memories of anything before my fall. All I knew was that my name was Abigail. This other family raised me as their own and I've been living in England. It's only after I found a passion for boxing that I moved to the States. So, you're actually my sister?
I am.
Oh my god.
We hugged tightly.
I'm so sorry for being rude to you before.
That's okay.
And I'm sorry for punching you in the face.
That's okay too. That night, I brought Abigail to my house and I introduced her to our parents.
Oh, my baby.
Mom crushed her in a hug.
Darling, give her some space to breathe now.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just... Oh, I've missed you so much.
We had dinner and caught up on all the years we'd missed out on.
My foster parents sent me to a boarding school and sort of... Well, they just abandoned me. You're lucky to have your parents, Ava.
All that matters now is that we're together. I was so happy to have my sister back again. After dinner, we were chilling in the living room when the doorbell rang. I'll get it. I opened the door to find Jaya there. Jaya! Oh, do you want to come in for some dinner? We still have leftovers.
No, that's all right. Listen. It seems my work here is done, so, I'm flying to New York tonight.
What?
Yeah, I had been planning on moving for a while, but then you turned up and I had a reason to stay then. But now, well, now we have no reason to hang out with each other anymore.
But
Yes?
never mind.
No. Okay. Well, I just wanted to say goodbye.
We hugged and he turned to leave, but before he could, I suddenly ran over to him and kissed him. After a while, we pulled apart.
That was unexpected.
Please don't go. I think I like you.
You do?
Oh God, I feel so embarrassed.
No, don't be, 'cause I think I like you too.
We kissed again.
Are you two lovebirds done licking each other's faces?
Sorry. Jaya, I'll see you tomorrow?
Yeah, see you tomorrow.
The next day, Abigail moved back home. She wasn't really close to her foster parents, so we were the closest thing she had to family. Mi casa es su casa.
Thanks, Ava.
We shared one bedroom, but after a few days, I discovered that Abigail was super messy. She would leave her clothes everywhere, leave food from days before, and never cleaned up her bed. It was like living in a pigsty. Me, on the other hand, I always kept my stuff sparkly clean. Abigail, do you think you could maybe clean up a little?
Are you telling me what to do after everything I've been through?
No! Sorry, you're right. What was that? I hadn't seen this side of Abigail before. I thought I knew my twin, but in the next few weeks, I discovered that I didn't know her at all. I got a call one day from my older manager.
Ava, good news! I managed to squeeze you into the upcoming boxing match in your city. Think of it as your great comeback.
Really? Oh, thank you! You won't regret this.
Who was that, honey?
I told them the good news, and my parents hugged me tightly.
Oh, this is amazing.
No matter what happens, we're proud you're our daughter.
I smiled, but when I looked up, I noticed Abigail staring at us from the kitchen. She looked so angry. I wanted to call her over, but she left before I could. Weird. That same evening, I headed out to meet Jaya at the park for a date, but I bumped into Abigail on the way out.
Where are you heading?
To meet Jaya.
Oh, good. I'll come with you.
It's not really.
Ready?
Oh, okay. Great. Now she wanted to butt in on my date with Jaya, too. We met Jaya at the park and he handed me a bouquet of flowers.
Hey, what's your sister doing here?
I wanted to see your handsome face again.
Did Abigail really just say that? Jaya was my boyfriend. Why was she calling him handsome?
Oh, thanks.
Don't mention it, hot stuff.
Okay, should we start walking? Throughout the whole evening, Abigail was totally flirting with Jaya. It was so weird. Was my sister trying to make me jealous on purpose? I've got my comeback boxing match coming up. You can make it, right?
Of course. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
The only reason you got that match is because I beat you instantly in our first match. I'm a much better boxer than you.
Yes, Abigail, that is true. But in our first match, I just found my long-lost twin. I think it's safe to say I was at a disadvantage.
What, are you saying you can beat me?
I'm just saying.
You want to go now, huh? Huh?
Whoa, Abigail. Let's all just relax here.
Fine. Consider yourself lucky.
And then she stormed off. I couldn't wrap my head around it. Was my twin a jerk? This was not how I expected our reunion to be. Weeks later, after training day after day, it was finally time for my comeback boxing match. I waited in the prep room for my announcement as I walked on stage. The door opened and my family and Jaya walked in.
We just want to wish you luck before you went on stage.
Thank you.
We're so proud.
Thanks, Dad.
Good luck, babe. Please don't try to get too hurt. I prefer your face the way it is.
I'll try. I waved as they left, and then it was just me and Abigail. Listen, Abigail, I think we started off wrong. I know this sounds weird, but I can't help but feel like you don't like me.
Well, you're not wrong.
Huh?
You don't deserve this life. I deserve this life. It should have been you who lost your memories. But you have the loving parents, the amazing boyfriend, a successful career. And what do I have? Nothing.
That's not true. Now you do have a family.
A little too late, don't you think? But anyways, I guess we can cross off the successful career off that list of yours.
Huh?
Yeah, you're not getting on stage.
Wait! I ran forward and tried to open it, but it wouldn't budge. She locked me in. How could she? Hours passed and I yelled and screamed for help, but no one came. Finally, after ages, the door opened again and everyone was there.
Ava, what happened?
Abigail happened. She locked me in here.
What? How could you do this? I don't need you guys. I'm leaving tomorrow to go back to England. I can see I'm not wanted here.
But... And she left without another word. That was the last time I'd ever see her. I was sad to see my sister go, but I could see we weren't the twin besties we used to be. Luckily for me, I had Jaya there. And one day, on a romantic walk along the beach, He got down on one knee and proposed. Ah! Yes! As we planned our wedding, I couldn't help but have this very strong feeling that our wedding should be in Thailand, at a specific hotel. I can't explain the feeling, but it felt like a magnet pulling me into this specific location.
Thailand? Sure.
Months later, we arrived at the hotel in Thailand. It was beautiful. I walked into the lobby and then ran into myself. Well, not myself. My twin. Abigail?
Ava?
What are you doing here? I'm getting married.
Oh,
You go first.
I met my old boyfriend and we got back together and, well, we're getting married.
Wow, me and Jaya decided to seal the deal too.
That's great.
Silence stretched between us. Then,
I'm sorry.
huh?
I'm sorry for everything. I've been the worst sister in the world, and I realize that now. I was just jealous of you. I wanted your life. Can you forgive me?
Of course I can forgive you. You're my sister, my twin. We're bound for life.
What a coincidence we both picked Thailand, huh?
It sounds weird, but I had a gut feeling I had to have my wedding here.
Really? Me too.
Weird.
You're so cruel, Kiara. You know what? One day something bad is going to happen to you, and no one will help you because the truth is, you're awful.
Hi, my name is Kiara from Louisiana. Please like and subscribe. Mom passed away when I was born, so my multi-billionaire dad raised me alone. And he spoiled me with money. Everyone fawned over me, but I knew it was just because I was a billionaire's daughter. One girl, Rita, the girl you saw earlier, was especially annoying in her attempts to please me. She will follow me everywhere.
Oh, you spilled juice on your sneakers.
It's waterproof.
Oh, sorry.
People would say she was super nice, but I thought she was too fake and itched to be rid of her. So when I invited her to my 17th birthday party and was about to cut the cake, I stepped up to her and pulled off her wig. Look, guys! Rita's hair is actually 2 inches long! All the kids in the neighborhood were there, including her crush, Derek. Her face went red, and she uttered those words of doom to me. She stopped visiting and talking to me after that, but that was a score for me. While I pretended to be the happiest outside, at home, I was lonely. Dad wasn't always around, and I didn't want to socialize with the maids, so I kept busy on social media. One afternoon, I read a viral tweet about a bank robbery that happened that day in Louisiana. The robbers were being sought by the police. I barely had time to think about it because my bedroom door burst open just then.
Hey, honey.
Dad! It had been over 2 weeks since my dad left for one of his business trips. He never told me what he did there, only that it was top secret, and he couldn't take me with him.
I just came to see your face. I'm going back right now.
Is it safe? I heard some robbers.
Sorry, my princess. I'll contact you.
I noticed then that Dad looked really tense. What's going on, Dad?
You're surrounded. Open this door right now.
Suddenly, the reflection of flashing sirens filled my room. I rushed to the window and looked out to see police cars parked in our driveway and many armed policemen heading to the door. I turned around to tell Dad what I saw, but he was racing out of the room. It was like a bad movie. The police caught my dad before he could escape and arrested him for years of cyber fraud and the recent bank robbery. All of our servants ran away. I was shocked to my bones. I couldn't believe Dad was a criminal. I stayed up all night in the house alone and in tears, wishing for the first time that I had a friend, even if it was just a weirdo like Rita. Oh, I missed her now. How was I going to face people? It was all over the news what my dad had been doing all along. To make things worse, the next day, 2 men from a security agency came and told me that they would be confiscating all of Dad's possessions, including my car and our house. Where will I live?
You will be leaving with me.
I stared at the middle-aged woman who I hadn't noticed before behind the men. And you are?
I'm your mom's older sister from Texas, Mary.
Texas? The state of cowboys and farm animals? Ew! I broke out into a run. I refused to live with an aunt who I had never seen before. She looked so poor.
Hey, come back here.
I ran at breakneck speed until I got to Rita's house. Rita! Please, open up!
What are you doing here?
Rita! Please forgive me. Please tell your parents to adopt me.
My parents can't harbor the daughter of a criminal. Sorry to disappoint.
I probably deserved what she said to me, but there was no way I was going back to the house with that woman waiting to take me to Texas of all places. I wandered aimlessly for an hour until I found myself at the park. Tired, I sat on the bench and soon dozed off. My mistake, because when I opened my eyes again, I found myself in a small, dingy bedroom. Where am I? The woman who called herself my aunt appeared at the doorway.
You're finally awake. Welcome to Texas.
What? I was at the park in Louisiana last time I remembered. She told me they had searched for me and found me asleep on a bench there. Because of her work, she had to return to Texas today, so with the help of those security agents, I was bundled into her car, and to their surprise, I remained asleep all the way there. Take me back, right now!
Kiara, you should be grateful for this opportunity to change scenery.
She was right. If Rita could act that way towards me, what would the rest of the kids in the neighborhood do? Everyone would be making fun of me. Can I get something to eat?
Sure.
Soon, she served me a tray of food that I couldn't make out what it was. What is this?
White bean soup.
This is a meal for peasants!
Half bread is better than none.
Left with no choice, I ate the meal, but vowed to order something more befitting in the morning. But in the morning, when I tried to order breakfast from a nearby breakfast delivery, I found out that the credit card Dad gave me had been blocked. How could I live in poverty? For days, I stayed holed up in my tiny room. Aunt Mary would go back to work and come back to find me in the same position. Sometimes I rejected her peasant food.
Your food has gone cold.
The food is beneath me.
If it's so bad, why don't you find work to do so you can earn money to afford your favorite meals?
I wasn't born to work. I knew I gave her a really tough time, but I was so mad at how my world had turned upside down, I couldn't see anything else. Until one stormy night. Ah! I hate storms! Aunt Mary! I came across her sleeping on the floor in the living room. Hey, why are you on the floor? Go to your bedroom.
You're sleeping in it.
That's your bedroom. You left it for me? I hadn't bothered to explore the house, so I had no idea it was the only bedroom here. But why would she do that? She had nothing to gain from me. You're sleeping on the floor here for me to sleep on the bed? Why did you bring me here when you're not even comfortable?
You're my precious niece. Would you prefer I left you to be taken to a foster home?
Tears filled my eyes. All along I had been a brat to her when she had actually done me a favor by showing up. I doubted I would have survived in a foster home. I vowed to be a better niece to Aunt Mary from then on and help her out. So the next day, I went with her to meet Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the couple she worked for in their mansion, and apply for a part-time job. Ma'am, sir, I would also love to work here part-time.
Great. We are in need of another hand in the kitchen.
Thank God it was not the farm. The wages they proposed to pay was nothing like what my dad gave me on a weekly basis, but at least I was earning it legally. On my first day of work, I dressed in one of the few designer clothes Aunt Mary had packed for me. As I made my way to the mansion, I passed a plainly dressed girl who had her back to me and was shoveling mud from an empty ranch into a wheelbarrow like a pro. The next second, I felt something wet and sticky land on my back. Mud! It was mud on my Dior shirt! Are you blind? Do you know how much this shirt cost? She turned around to face me, and I almost lost my footing. She was so beautiful. Bright green eyes, dark hair with bangs, a leanly built figure, and even though she was quite tall, I could tell she and I would be around the same age.
Sorry, Princess. I don't have eyes at the back of my head.
But when she spoke, my awestruck state shattered and I regained my temper. Oh, you dare to insult me after what you did?
Hey, stop barking. Who wears a Dior shirt to work anyway?
She even had the gulls to look amused! You witch! I rushed toward the ranch to grab some mud and throw it right back at her top. But when I looked in her eyes again, I just couldn't do it. Thank your stars, I can't bear to touch mud.
Ooh, scary.
Ah! She was infuriating! After my event with the silly girl, I cleaned the kitchen and went on to do my last task for the day, serve the Smiths dinner. On getting to the dining room, I froze when I saw who sat at the dining table with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. The mud girl! She had cleaned up all the dirt and wore fresh clothes, but there was no mistaking her. She gave me a huge smirk when our eyes met.
Oh, Kiara, have you met our daughter Mia? Come closer and say hi. Don't be shy. Yes, Kiara, come say hi.
Hi, Mia. Panicking inwardly, I quickly set the table and served their food, afraid she was going to spill everything about how I had spoken to her and get me fired. But all she did was bore holes into the side of my head with her piercing green eyes until I left. Gosh, did she not know it was rude to stare? Later, when I came to clean up the dining table, Mrs. Smith sat alone with a smile on her face to announce that Mia had chosen me to be her help.
That's not a problem, right?
No, ma'am. Inside, I boiled with anger. The spoiled brat wanted me to be her personal maid so she could torture me.
Good. So go upstairs and let her tell you what she expects of you.
I climbed the stairs to her room like it was haunted. Hello? Her room was much bigger and well decorated than mine back at the mansion. I was a girl of her class shoveling mud. Is this some kind of joke? Turning me into your personal slave?
Correction, assistant.
That's just... She stood up from the chair she was sitting on, and I felt the words dry in my throat as she leaned over me.
Call it anything you want. I intend to double your pay in 2 weeks if you are good. But if this cranky attitude is what I have to put up with, then please leave.
Of course I couldn't leave, and from the triumphant smirk on her pretty face, she knew this too. What do you want me to do for you? And can you give me some space?
Does being this close bother you?
Why should I? You just smell a lot like dirty mud. It was a lie, but I wasn't going to let her win.
Your task is to do whatever I ask of you. First, you'll stand there and sing until I fall asleep. Only then can you leave.
Could this get any crazier? Seeing as I had no choice, I began to sing a song that could hopefully give her nightmares. Soon, I was hearing soft snores, and when I snuck a peek at her, she was sound asleep, looking like an angel. A beautiful angel of evil. Later, I couldn't sleep when I thought of all the humiliating things she would tell me to do. What if she treated me the way I had treated Rita? It came to me then that I had been very wrong with what I had done to Rita. If I could be scared of being treated the same way, it means I had dished Rita a meal I couldn't take. And her words then, it really looked like it had come to pass now. After a moment, I typed an apology to Rita. The other one didn't count. I had just been desperate to escape my aunt. Now I felt truly sorry and sincerely hoped she forgave me. I prepared for work the next day with my stomach in knots.
Yara, don't be so scared. Mia is a very good girl. She treats every servant with respect.
Well, maybe every servant but me. Our front door was pushed open, and there, dazzling in the morning sun, was Mia.
Howdy, Kiara. You're late. Morning, Miss Mary.
And so my life as Mia's personal maid began. Odd thing was, she hardly gave me anything serious to do. She cleaned up after herself and made her bed, and would instead assign odd and sometimes very embarrassing tasks. It looked like she hired me just for her entertainment.
Pick out my underwear for tomorrow. Brush my hair while I read.
Once, she even asked me to do something that made me blush to the tips of my ears. Feed you?
Yes.
I am sure you have hands.
They are scabbed over from shoveling manure today. I forgot to wear gloves.
Why do you even work on the farm when you have servants at your disposal?
I get paid.
Won't your parents give you money even if you don't work?
They will, but I am happier to work for it than receive handouts. At least when I share it with the less privileged, it doesn't feel like I'm throwing away money that isn't mine in the first place.
Wait, you work, get paid, then share it with the less privileged?
What? It's called giving to charity.
Wow. Despite the fact she was utterly annoying, my respect for her climbed very high that evening. She was a much better person than I had been when I was in her position. She even treated the maids like they were friends. I managed to feed her a few spoons when I noticed that our faces were really close. It was as if she was going to kiss me. I need to go.
Kiara!
I did my best to avoid Mia after that day. I needed to sort out all the confusing feelings she was making me feel. Thankfully, she didn't bother me either. I focused on helping Aunt Mary out on the farm. One day, I was throwing feed into the fish pond when I heard a growl behind me. It was a bull, of monstrous size, pawing the ground. It looked like it was about to charge at me.
Help! Kiara!
Out of nowhere, Mia appeared with a red cloth and began to wave it at the bull, distracting it from me.
Back off, boy.
Soon, other servants rushed in and helped to rein the bull. My heart was still beating when Mia approached me.
Kiara, are you okay?
Something about the gentle way she spoke to me and the concern in her eyes pulled me in like a magnet. And before I could register what I was doing, I pressed my lips to hers.
Is this thanks for saving your life?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know when
Are you saying you regret it? Because I don't.
You don't?
I liked you from the very first day you yelled at me. So, is this why you took an unpermitted leave from me? I was getting too hot for you to handle?
I have never felt this way before. You really like me? In response, she pressed her lips to mine again, and I took that as a yes. Aunt Mary came rushing toward us then with a phone in hand. I don't know if she had seen us kiss or even knew I had almost been attacked by a bull, but she looked really anxious.
Kiara, there's someone on the line for you.
Who?
Your mom.
My mom! Oh, isn't she dead?
Come on, Frida, let's save the world. My older sister and I played hero with dolls. I was saving Frida from the great dragon, and I was about to win when suddenly 3 boys appeared.
Oh, look, it's the freak and her little sister. They're playing with dolls like little losers.
Frida looked down. The boys of the village were always teasing her for her hair, which was quite a beautiful color in my opinion. But no one else on the island had the same hair color as her. Because of this, she was always teased, just because she was a little different. Leave us alone!
Oh yeah? What are you going to do about it?
You might think I'd have no chance against 3 older boys, but think again. I headbutted one of them while the other 2 backed away in fear.
This girl's crazy.
Yes, I'm crazy, and if you don't leave us alone, I'll destroy you! Hey guys, my name's Astrid, and I'm a Viking. Please like and subscribe. My dad is the chief of our Viking village. He raised myself and my sister all on his own, and I couldn't have wished for a better dad. But things were tough for him. You see, usually boys are the ones who grow up to become chief of a village, and he only had daughters. But soon he discovered I was no ordinary girl. I loved fighting, and since I was just a wee baby, I knew I wanted to become the best warrior in the world. Dad, I want to fight.
Astrid, you don't even know how to walk yet. But don't worry. As soon as you can start, I'll put you in training.
My older sister Frida was the exact opposite of me. She wanted to live a more gentler life. Look, Frida, I destroyed my target.
Oh, that's nice.
For our birthdays, my dad would give Frida a pretty dress and give me a new suit of armor. I love it. Thanks, Dad.
That's my Astrid. You'll make a fine chief one day.
Finally, when I was 14, Dad put me in training school. I was so happy. But my first day at school wasn't as amazing as I'd expected it to be.
This is no easy feat. Graduating from my training means hours of hard work and pain. Are you up for that?
Yes, sir.
And look what we have here. The chief's daughter.
I'm excited to get started, sir.
Is that so? You think you're up for this? You're the only girl who is in the class, you know. Usually I wouldn't accept girls, since they're much weaker than men. But since your dad is the chief, I had to go against my own wishes.
I clenched my fist. Did he just call me weak? I think, sir, you'll find women aren't nearly as weak as you think.
Oh, really?
Our teacher walked out to the fighting circle and gestured for me to follow.
You think you're so tough? Fight me.
What?
Fight me. Knock me down to the ground. Prove to me women aren't weak.
I took a deep breath and readied myself. I lunged at him, but within seconds he had tripped my legs and sent me face first into the dirt. Ow! The whole class of boys laughed at me while the teacher sneered in my face.
You still think you can handle my school?
I wanted to punch this dude in the face then and there, when suddenly I heard a voice call out from the crowd.
That's not fair. She's untrained, and you want her to fight against you? A professional. Why don't you have one of us fight you and see if we can do better? She didn't lose because she's a girl. She has just as much of a chance as us boys. Ooh. What are you? Soon to be wed? Look at Eric. So noble. That's enough. You, get up. And you, 100 push-ups for talking back to me.
We all got up and watched as Eric did 100 push-ups. I felt terrible. He was doing this because of me. After he finished and the teacher called us over to teach us the mechanics of using a shield, I went over to Eric. Hey, I'm sorry about...
Why are you apologizing? You shouldn't be sorry for anything. Our teacher is the one who should apologize.
But still, thank you. I really appreciate what you did.
Anytime, Astrid.
You know my name?
You're the chief's daughter. Of course I know. And gosh, it's a bit embarrassing. But when we were little, I sort of maybe had a little tiny crush on you.
Oh.
But not anymore. I mean,
Well, I hope we can be friends. I have a feeling you're the only nice one in this whole class. What do you say?
of course we'll be friends.
After that day, Eric and I got really close. We would hang out even outside of training school, and I came to realize just how kind, funny, and charming Eric was. Secretly, I had a crush on him, so it made me sad to know he didn't feel the same way. One day, Eric invited me over to the fighting ring so we could practice one-on-one. Sure, I was a lot better than the first day our teacher had humiliated me. Eric tried to jab at me, but I caught his arm and flipped him on the ground, landing on top of him.
Wow, you're much better than me.
Why are you surprised? Eric looked up at me, and I don't know what made me do it. Whether it was the adrenaline or the rush, but I suddenly leaned in and kissed him.
Whoa.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have.
Astrid, you gotta stop apologizing.
But I just kissed you.
And I'm glad you did.
What? But that first day of training, you said you didn't have a crush on me anymore.
I just said that because I was too embarrassed to admit I still had a crush on you.
Oh, well, yay!
Yeah.
Eric and I started to date seriously after that, and I invited Eric over for dinner one night so he could meet my dad and sister.
This food is delicious. Thank you.
Frida made it. She's really good at cooking.
Not as good as my Astrid sparring. I heard she took you down in the ring today. Yeah, she's the best in the class. She must take after you. You bet. I heard you're second best in the class though, Eric. Well,
He is. He's amazing.
If he's so amazing, why don't you just marry him?
Frida? What are you saying?
I've lost my appetite. It was nice to meet you, Eric. Goodbye.
Frida left the table and we sat in awkward silence.
what's up with her?
I don't know. Eric, I'm sorry about my sister.
No, it's fine. This dinner was lovely. I really enjoyed your company, Chief. Come again, anytime, Eric.
I was glad my dad approved of Eric, but what was up with Frida? Eric was the perfect guy. Why didn't she like him? I decided to go to her room after dinner. Frida, can we talk?
What is there to talk about?
You were acting a little strange at dinner. Is something up?
If you have to know, I don't like Eric.
What? But why?
I don't trust him, Astrid. He gives off bad vibes.
What do you mean, bad vibes? Frida, you can trust him. I would trust him with my life.
Whatever. Let's just forget it, all right?
Frida got into bed and ignored me. I sighed. I loved Frida, and I cared about her opinion of my boyfriend. I really wish she liked him. That night, I kissed Eric goodbye, and he left to go home. I had no idea that was the last time I'd see him for years. The next day, Eric didn't show up at training school. Maybe he's sick. But when I went to his house, his mom said he hadn't come home last night. That's when I started to panic. We searched the whole island for Eric, but we couldn't find him anywhere. He just disappeared. Years passed. I missed Eric terribly, and the only thing keeping me going was my training school. Now my grief for Eric had turned into power in combat, and I was undefeated in my class. Finally, I decided to challenge my teacher to a combat as revenge for that first day at school years ago. Come on, none of the other guys can defeat you. Why don't you let me try?
Fine. But don't think, 'cause you're a girl, I will go easy on you.
Oh, please don't. We readied ourselves, and this time, teacher made the first move and lunged at me. But I easily sidestepped him, then swung around and tripped him. The rest of the class was speechless. Man, this felt good. But suddenly, horns sounded and we all rushed outside. Those were the horns that meant someone was attacking the island. I spotted Dad running toward the northern point of the island. Dad, what's happening?
The enemy's been spotted. Hundreds of them. Get your weapons ready. This is no training practice. This is the real deal.
I nodded and got all my gear and rushed to catch up with my dad. On the way there, I bumped into Frida.
Astrid, what's happening?
Frida, get back to the village center. Stay safe.
Where are you going?
To fight!
No, Astrid, let the men handle this, please.
No, Frida, this is what I've been training for. I hugged her quickly and then ran off after Dad. Frida called for me to stay back, but I ignored her pleas. When we made it to the cliff edge, we were shocked by how many attackers there were. We were outnumbered 2-1.
Men, you know what we must do. We defend our home or die trying!
Dad's warriors roared in response, and we all charged. The battle was intense. We easily could have been defeated, but thanks to my dad's leadership, we managed to thwart the enemy attackers and send them retreating. In the aftermath of the battle, I approached my dad. How did they manage to get on shore?
Someone must have guided them from the lighthouse. Otherwise, there's no way they would have made it through those rocks.
But does that mean?
Yes, we have a traitor among us. Chief, someone spotted a figure at the lighthouse. Quick, let's catch this traitor before he escapes.
We rushed to the lighthouse and entered. The traitor was the last person I expected to see. Eric?
Wait, Astrid, isn't this your old boyfriend?
Yes. I don't understand. He can't be a traitor. Eric was unconscious, but he started to wake up at the sound of our voices.
What? Where am I? What happened? Don't play games with me, boy.
Dad, stop it.
No, Astrid. This boy's a traitor, and he must be punished. Send him to the dungeons.
No. But no matter what I said, they wouldn't listen. Eric was sent to the dungeons, and his fate would be decided in the morning. I sat in my room in despair. Eric was a traitor? I couldn't believe it, but he was at the lighthouse. He surely was the one who had guided our enemies onto our island. But it made no sense. Why had he disappeared? Why turn up now? And why was he unconscious when we found him? I couldn't make any sense of it. Someone knocked on my door and Frida appeared.
Astrid, I made some tea for you.
Oh, thanks, Frida. She handed me the tea and I sat there numbly. Go on. You can say I told you so.
I wasn't gonna say it.
But you were right. Eric couldn't be trusted.
I'm sorry, Astrid.
I sighed and leant my head against her. At least I have you, huh? Frida was silent and then she stood up.
Make sure you drink your tea.
I nodded and took a sip. I suddenly started to feel sleepy. I think I'll go to sleep.
You do that.
There was something about Frida's voice that sounded off, but within a few seconds I was already asleep. In my dreams, I started hearing strange noises and I woke up to battle sounds. I looked outside and screamed. Our village was being swarmed by the enemy. I ran out and went to Frida's room, but it was empty. I went to Dad's room and found him asleep in his bed. I decided to leave him and run outside. Suddenly, I heard footsteps and I was surrounded by the enemy. I was doomed. A shadowy figure appeared behind the enemy. Wait, I recognized that voice. The enemy parted to make way for Frida. Frida, thank Odin you're okay.
Oh, I'm more than all right, sister.
Frida? No, don't tell me.
Yes, I'm the traitor.
No, it can't be.
Oh, but it's true.
Why, Frida? Why would you do this? This is your home.
It never felt like my home. I've always lived in your shadow. I've always been the weaker sister. Didn't you realize that, as the older one, I should be the one to become chief? But no, just because you're into your stupid warrior nonsense, it should be you who becomes chief. Well, I wasn't gonna let you go on by and steal my crown. So, I called some friends over to take over this rotten island.
And Eric?
That fool? The poor thing caught me one day talking to the enemy about my plans. So of course I had to silence him. It's a pity you decided to pick him out as your boyfriend. But we all must make sacrifices, mustn't we?
You made him disappear?
I got my friends to keep him prisoner in a hidden cave on the island. Then when the time struck for the attack, I planted him at the lighthouse so he would look like a traitor. It was all too easy, really.
Frida, we're sisters. How could you do this?
It was the only way. Men, deal with them.
Frida turned away, turned her back on me, on her family, her home, and the enemy marched forward. I prepared to defend myself when suddenly a war cry was heard, and Eric appeared. Eric knocked down the first line of enemies in a flash.
I'm sorry it took me so long to get back to you, Astrid.
I'm so so happy you're alive, Eric.
Frida, she.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Now you're the one apologizing?
We can defeat them, Astrid.
I nodded. Together. The enemy rushed toward us and we charged. We knocked them down one after another, like pawn pieces on a chessboard, until eventually they were all unconscious. Only Frida stood there, baffled by our comeback.
But no.
I approached my sister, eyeing her down for the traitor she was.
Fine. Go on. Kill me.
I reached her and...
Huh?
I'm sorry, Frida. I should have realized how unfairly we'd been treating you. Me, Dad, we should have paid more attention to you. I should have paid more attention to you. But I see you now. I hugged her tighter. I see you. I could feel Frida's hot tears splashing on my own cheek.
I didn't want any of this.
There. I know.
I'm sorry, Astrid.
It's okay. I forgive you. We held on to each other for dear life. I don't know what the future holds, but for now, I know I have to be there for my sister.